It's time to put on the bloody wedding dress and chucks again. Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions. Today I'm going to give you my review of Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Once again from the Radio Silence team, Ready or Not 2 picks up immediately after the first film. Samara Weaving's Grace, daughter of Hugo Weaving, it took me way too long to figure that out, is taken into police custody and rushed to the hospital, where she comes face to face with her only emergency contact, her estranged sister Faith, played by Kathryn Newton. But their reunion doesn't last long, because soon they're ambushed and kidnapped by members of a terrifying satanic cult tied to the Ladomus family, who reveal a twist. Grace surviving the original game wasn't the end, it was only the beginning. Now she and her sister are forced into another deadly night, as powerful families compete to hunt her down and take control of the mysterious council, which, as it turns out, controls literally everything. The first Ready or Not is absolutely incredible, one of my favorite horror movies of the 2010s. It's fun, nasty, rich in character and lore, and just a damn good time at the movies.
I love it!
But even though we all wanted to know how Grace was going to walk away from that bloodbath without being blamed for murdering her entire new family,
like that's ever gonna happen,
I don't think anyone actually expected to get a sequel, at least not one this good. Like I said, this picks up exactly where the last one left off and wastes absolutely zero time tossing us right into the chaos, while also really ramping up the humor too. The first thing I noticed, before we even get into people exploding or running for their lives, is how much I love the dynamic between Samara Weaving's Grace and Kathryn Newton's Faith. Once they finally come face to face and we get some admittedly clunky exposition out of the way, they slip right into that very real sibling bickering. But even through the arguments, underneath it all, you can tell the love is still there. And thanks to Radio Silence's punchy script and this duo's genuinely great chemistry, they do an amazing job selling this dynamic. Kathryn Newton's also a fantastic addition here and really keeps this sequel from just feeling like a rehash.
How original.
Instead of just following Grace through another night trying to survive again, Faith adds a ton of tension and humor. Whether it's them butting heads over what to do next, reacting to the absolute insanity around them, or even bringing in some solid emotional stakes as they slowly rebuild their sisterly bond. It works more often than it doesn't, even if, like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the bickering starts to wear a little thin by the halfway point.
See, you just told everyone your deepest, darkest secret!
And there are a few moments between them that feel a little too melodramatic, like the script is forcing emotional conflict that wasn't totally necessary. Still, Faith stands strong as their own character, and her dynamic with Grace is a lot of fun, especially with Grace now being the experienced one. I mean, she's basically having the weekend from hell, going from fighting to survive her wedding night, to being rushed to a hospital, and then immediately kidnapped and forced to survive another night. That's just rough, and she's doing this all on like, what, 2 to 3 hours of sleep?
What a week, huh?
Lemon, it's Wednesday.
Anyway, speaking of Grace, Samara Weaving once again continues to prove why she's one of the best scream queens working today. She brings the laughs, the panic, the physicality, and that scream. Chef's kiss. The rest of the supporting cast, all newcomers this time around, for obvious explosive reasons,
They all died.
do a solid job helping expand the world, even if they're not quite as memorable as the Ladomus family from the first one. Elijah Wood stood out the most to me as the council's advisor and Mr. LaBelle's interpreter.
This part will be familiar. They will try to kill you.
Creepy, soft-spoken, and a great grounding presence for a movie that goes a lot bigger and crazier this time around. The rest: David Cronenberg, Nestor Carbonell, Kevin Durand, Olivia Chang, Maya J, Dan Byrne, Varun Zarunga. They're all good in their roles, but pretty underwritten. Most of them are given some funny lines or a standout moment, but I couldn't even tell you their characters' names.
I don't even know who you are.
That said, there are two exceptions to that rule: Sarah Michelle Gellar as Ursula and Sean Hatosy as her brother Titus. These two bring a parallel sibling dynamic that honestly rivals Grace and Faith. Gellar plays this with a surprising amount of nuance, clearly power hungry but still very conflicted, trying to keep things from spiraling too far out of control. Meanwhile, Sean Hatosy goes in the complete opposite direction, and it works. He takes what could have been a cartoonish villain and turns him into something genuinely unsettling. By the third act, he's unhinged, unpredictable, and very terrifying.
I'm in danger!
Their dynamic adds another layer that helps the sequel stand apart. It may follow a similar structure to the first one, but these new character relationships really give it its own identity. The film also explains the lore of this universe in a very satisfying way, diving deeper into Mr. LaBelle and the Council, with all of it delivered in a pretty natural, diegetic way, with us finding it out as Grace and Faith do. And the violence? Oh, it delivers.
Yes, good.
It's not constant gore, but when it hits, it hits. The spontaneous explosions are back almost immediately, and that ever-present threat of someone just randomly combusting adds a ton of tension. and dark humor. There are also some really fun, brutal fight sequences, plenty of moments like the first where Grace gets absolutely wrecked, and even the few scenes that take this from more over the top to something more grounded and intense, even if that tonal shift felt a little jarring. But the best part? It's all practical, baby.
Hell yeah.
We're talking full-on blood and gore cannons, goops flying straight into the actors' faces and nostrils. The kind of stuff that just feels better and makes every moment like that hit so much harder. All of this builds to a third act that does tend to slow things down and lose a bit of momentum once it starts, before ramping back up to a climax that actually rivals the first film with how crazy it gets, followed by a cathartic ending that left my dad and I with big dumb smiles on our faces. Also, quick shout out to the score by Sven Falconer. It works well in the moment even if it didn't really leave a huge impression on me afterwards. Overall, despite retreading some familiar ground, a slightly sluggish start to the third act, and some underdeveloped side characters, Ready or Not 2 Here I Come is a wildly entertaining follow-up that manages to expand the world, raise the stakes, and still capture what made the original so much fun. It's mean, it's funny, it's chaotic as hell, and most importantly, it proves that the first wasn't just a one-hit wonder. And that's my review of Ready or Not 2 Here I Come. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, let me know if you saw this movie, subscribe, and I will see you next time for my review of They Will Kill You.